Once upon a time, the title of my story is The Alpha and His Vampire Lover. In the heart of the African wilderness, nestled between lush forests and rolling hills, lay the village of Nsara, a place where ancient traditions and hidden secrets intertwined. Nsara was a village like no other, where the stories of the old were whispered around the fire, and the spirits of the ancestors were honored with every breath. It was a place where the line between the natural and supernatural blurred, and where the leader of the pack, the Alpha, was both revered and feared. Kelvin was the Alpha of Nsara, a powerful and respected leader of his people. He had been born into a lineage of strong Alphas, men and women, who had led their people with strength and wisdom. But Kelvin was different. From a young age, he had possessed a keen sense of empathy, a deep understanding of the land and its creatures. His connection to the spirit world was stronger than that of any Alpha before him, and with it came a burden of responsibility. The village elders often spoke of the blood moon, a rare celestial event that occurred once every 100 years. It was said that during the blood moon, the boundaries between the living and the dead would weaken, allowing spirits and other supernatural beings to roam freely. The elders warned that during this time, the Alpha must be vigilant, for the village would be vulnerable to dark forces. As the time of the blood moon approached, Kelvin found himself increasingly restless. He felt a pull, a strange force calling to him from deep within the forest. Nights were sleepless, filled with vivid dreams of a mysterious figure cloaked in shadow. Despite the warnings of the elders, Kelvin knew he had to follow this call. One night, under the glow of a waxing moon, Kelvin ventured into the heart of the forest. The trees whispered ancient secrets as he made his way deeper into the woods, his senses heightened. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the distant call of nocturnal creatures. As he approached a clearing, he saw her, an ethereal figure bathed in the moonlight. She was beautiful, with skin as pale as the moon and eyes that glowed like embers. Her long, dark hair flowed like a river of shadows down her back. Kelvin knew instantly who she was, a vampire, a creature of the night. But she was different from the tales he had heard. She radiated a sadness, a loneliness that tugged at his heart. Her name was Mary, and she had been wandering the earth for centuries. Cursed by a powerful witch long ago, Mary had been doomed to an eternity of solitude, forever longing for a love that would never be. She had seen the rise and fall of civilizations, the passing of countless generations, yet she remained unchanged, untouched by time. Mary had come to Nsara drawn by the energy of the blood moon, but also by something else, something she could not quite understand. When she saw Kelvin, she felt a connection, a bond that defied logic and reason. It was as if their souls had known each other in another life, in another time. Kelvin, too, felt the pull. Despite everything he had been taught, despite the warnings of his people, he could not deny the attraction he felt toward Mary. She was like no one he had ever met, and he was drawn to her like a moth to a flame. Over the days that followed, Kelvin and Mary met in secret, away from the eyes of the village. They would talk for hours, sharing stories of their pasts, their hopes, and their fears. Kelvin learned of Mary's curse, and she of his responsibilities as the Alpha. They were two souls bound by fate, drawn together by forces beyond their control. But their love was not without challenges. As the blood moon approached, the village elders grew suspicious of Kelvin's absences. They warned him that the vampire was dangerous, that she could not be trusted. They reminded him of his duty to protect the village, to uphold the traditions of their ancestors. Mary, too, was conflicted. She knew that her presence in Nsara was a danger to Kelvin and his people. The curse that bound her was powerful, and she feared what would happen when the blood moon reached its zenith. But the thought of leaving Kelvin, of abandoning the love she had waited centuries to find, was too much to bear. As the night of the blood moon arrived, the village was on high alert. The elders performed rituals to protect the village, invoking the spirits of their ancestors. Kelvin, torn between his love for Mary and his duty to his people, felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. Mary met Kelvin one last time in the forest, under the blood-red glow of the moon. She knew what she had to do. With tears in her eyes, she told Kelvin that she could not stay, that she could not risk bringing harm to him or his people. Kelvin tried to convince her to stay, to find a way to break the curse together, but Mary was resolute. As she turned to leave, Kelvin grabbed her hand, pulling her close. In that moment, the world seemed to stand still. The forest around them faded away, and all that existed was the two of them, bound by a love that transcended time and space. Kelvin made a vow then and there, to find a way to break the curse, no matter what it took. He would not let Mary go, not when they had found each other after so many lifetimes apart. With a kiss, they sealed their promise, knowing that their journey was far from over. The blood moon passed, and Mary disappeared into the night, leaving Kelvin with only the memory of their love. But Kelvin was determined. He returned to the village, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He knew that his love for Mary was stronger than any curse, stronger than the forces that sought to keep them apart. And so, the Alpha of Nsara began his quest to reunite with his vampire lover, knowing that their love was destined, written in the stars and etched into the very fabric of the universe. Their story was far from over. It was only just beginning. Like, comment, and share for more interesting stories.